The following is a rebroadcast of last night's Eyewitness News 11 o'clock report.
On Eyewitness News, all aboard the Siberian Express, taking South Florida where it has never been before. Emergency shelters are crowded as people try to escape record cold, and it is Christmas. What better time for a miracle?
Live, this is the Eyewitness News 11 o'clock report with Kurt Fonger, John Frankel with sports, and Bill Van Duzen's Doppler 12 forecast.
Hello, I'm Kurt Fonger. First off, what we've been warning you about for days. Tonight, the big chill is racing into South Florida, threatening to be one of our most devastating cold snaps. Ice and snow fell today in North Florida, bringing traffic to a crawl in Jacksonville. Many roads are ice-covered and very dangerous. The Florida Highway Patrol has closed all major roads, including I-95 in and out of Jacksonville, south to Daytona, and I-295 surrounding Jacksonville. That is also closed. Numerous multi-car pileups, some including more than 20 cars, could be found throughout North Florida. And hundreds of holiday travelers are stranded as the airports in Jacksonville and Gainesville are closed tonight. In Tallahassee today, an all-time record accumulation of 3 inches of snow. The scene on the roads again, treacherous. Governor Martinez, his wife, and twin granddaughters took advantage of the rare weekend weather to frolic in the snow. The temperature, and there they are, the temperature in Tallahassee is expected to plunge to 8 degrees by daybreak, with wind chills expected at 20 below zero. And as wild as it may sound, forecasters say there's a better chance for parts of South Florida to see snow for Christmas than in Denver, Colorado. Our Bill Van Duzen is in the Doppler Weather Center now with details on what we can expect this weekend. Bill.
Well, that's actually true. On the way to work tonight, we saw some drizzle, some very light rain. It didn't really get off the windshield as fast as you would expect it to. Inland, Jensen Beach now reported, one of our viewers called in with 26 degrees, 31 already at Vero. And what do you do with all this cold weather? Well, precautions that are very important. Protect your plants and trees, cover them if possible. If you can water, go ahead and do that. If you can't, well, of course, you can't do that then. Provide shelter for pets. Avoid prolonged activity outside, and proper heater ventilation is a must. If you have pipes that are going to be exposed for a long period of time, they should be protected from the effects of the weather. Lows tonight will be in the teens and below in the northwestern part of the state. Pensacola's already had a wind chill of 23 degrees below zero. We expect lows in our area from 20 to 25, and on the coastal areas, maybe only as low as 36 degrees. It's now 37 at West Palm Beach and 41 at Fort Lauderdale. We'll have all of the weather and show you much more information in just a few minutes. Back to you, Kurt.
Thank you, Bill. And the cold is already taking its toll on power companies. Florida Power and Light is reporting as many as 11,000 customers without electricity right now from Indian River County to Boca Raton. The reason? Overloaded power systems. FP&L is asking all of us to cut back electric use as much as possible. Life on the streets is always tough, but tonight it could mean death. Emergency shelters all over our state are offering the homeless a hot meal and a warm bed. Eyewitness News reporter Claudia Shea brings us a live update on the situation from an emergency shelter in West Palm Beach. Claudia?
Kurt, I'm standing outside the Westgate Community Center, which tonight is serving as one of the county's 2 emergency shelters, the other being in Belle Glade. Emergency management opens these shelters when forecasters predict the temperature will drop below 35 degrees, which it's expected to do. Now, many of the people staying inside were referred here from the Salvation Army shelter after that facility reached capacity.
I just thank the Lord that the Salvation Army here took us in off the streets because the weather is so cold.
The Salvation Army shelter opens its doors early so Palm Beach County's homeless can escape South Florida's record-breaking cold.
Is our first time here? Yes. A lot of first-timers tonight.
Police bring those who either don't know about the shelter or who couldn't get here by themselves.
You don't want to see them out there on the street. A lot of them are out there every night, but on a cold night like this, you don't want to have them being outside.
Once inside, they are promised a hot meal and a bed, luxuries for many who describe how they've been living.
Either sleeping out in the woods or I've got a friend of mine that lets me sleep in the back of his van. It's an old junk van when it's raining.
Room is limited here. Within an hour, the shelter takes in almost 70 people and reaches capacity. Those turned away are taken to an emergency shelter the county has set up for the night. Members of the Red Cross are staffing the shelter. They make the ground rules clear.
You cannot bring alcohol in here, and if you don't have enough drugs for all of West Palm Beach, don't bring them in here.
These men you are seeing in this live shot right now inside are encouraged to bring is a good attitude. As long as they have that, they are welcomed at the shelter with open arms. So far, there are 60 people staying inside, including 2 families, the youngest child being 3 years old. There are cots for all the people inside and 20 more here. They will bring in more if that's necessary. These doors will remain open for 24 hours. They will take people in all night long. Emergency management will decide tomorrow whether or not to open the shelters again. That all depends on the temperature, whether it drops below 35. Kurt.
And we'll talk to Bill Van Dusen about that later. Thank you, Claudia. Eyewitness News reporter Claudia Shea live from the Westgate Emergency Homeless Shelter in West Palm Beach. As Bill showed us earlier, a hard freeze is expected tonight for Central Florida, frightening farmers and citrus growers who suffered $3 billion in damages during freezes in 1983 and 85. The weather is particularly threatening because 85% of this year's crop is still on the trees. Moving on now, a judge in Palm Beach County rules that a patient need not accept a blood transfusion. A court-appointed guardian reported to the judge that Francisco Cabrera understands the consequences of his refusals. Cabrera was critically injured in a hit-and-run accident earlier this week, but rejects blood transfusions on religious grounds. Members of Cabrera's family attended today's court hearing. They agree with Cabrera's refusal of blood transfusions, saying the Bible forbids it. The Cabreras are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Our position was that the person to decide whether or not to accept or refuse particular types of care is the patient's and not a stranger's.
Cabrera's condition is stabilized. Police are still looking for the driver of a sod truck who left the scene of the accident in which Cabrera was injured last Sunday north of Belle Glade. A Wellington man is dead from a one-car accident this morning. This car was pulled from the canal running parallel to Lake Worth Road. Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies say 42-year-old Gabgiat Chugarnkar lost control of his car crossing the highway driving into the ditch. The car was found at 9:30 this morning. Deputies believe it had been there for 7 hours. Family members were probably expecting the worst. They had called in a missing person report. Every cold snap it happens, space heaters and furnaces fire up. Families lose homes. The Patterson family of Boca Raton saw their trailer destroyed today, though firefighters managed to save some of their Christmas presents. Investigators say a clogged heater caused that fire with an estimated loss of $50,000. Meanwhile, the Colon family in Lake Worth saw its 2-bedroom duplex destroyed this afternoon. Fire rescuers say this is a total loss, and the family had no insurance on the home. Now, the Red Cross is asking for your help tonight. It is collecting money and Christmas toys for the Colon family's 2 small boys. You can call the Red Cross at 833-7711 in West Palm Beach. Fighting continues in Panama, although U.S. military officials say some advances are being made. Our world headlines begin with this Panama update. Shooting is coming mostly from the so-called Dignity battalions of Manuel Noriega, according to the U.S. Southern Command. The paramilitary forces appear to be getting fresh arms and ammunition. Members of the Panamanian Defense Forces are increasingly giving up. 2,000 fresh American soldiers are being flown in as reinforcements, trying to bring order to Panama and find the fugitive Noriega. Bursts of gunfire are still being heard in Bucharest, but for the most part, revolutionary forces are said to be defeating loyalist soldiers in Romania. A meeting of leaders may end all fighting tomorrow. Ousted President Nicolae Ceausescu is said to be under arrest. He and his wife face trial. Revolutionary leaders are calling the former dictator a poison hyena. And in Poland, there is new hope for the economy, with $700 million in credit from the International Monetary Fund and a promise of billions more in Western aid. In return, the Poles will attempt the most extensive reform ever in East Europe. The loans will be released as Poland evolves from a centrally planned economy to a free market. Coming up next on Eyewitness News, they are fed up with a prison in their backyard that does not keep inmates in. We'll show you why neighbors of this lockup are so furious. Also ahead, little Jennifer amazes doctors and her parents. We'll show you why she is being called a miracle baby.
WPEC TV 12 is dedicated to delivering the best possible pictures and sound to our South Florida viewers. That commitment has just taken another giant step with the installation of a new stereo transmitter. You're now watching TV 12 on the most advanced solid-state transmitter on the market. If you're asking, what does that mean to me? It means that we're transmitting clearer pictures, flawless stereo sound with improved dependability. New technology for the 90s, from the station for the 90s. WPEC TV 12.
Just lost everything. You know, no place to go. It was terrible. It was just terrible.
Through United Way, the Salvation Army gave Christine and her 3 children a place to live. Now, back on her feet, she's assisting others at the shelter.
Sometimes it's depressing seeing some of the people that come in that need help, you know, but I was once on the other side of that desk, too. They're there when you need them. They were there for me.
2 prison breaks in the last 3 months have raised questions about security at Martin Correctional Institution. Eyewitness News Treasure Coast reporter Chris Douglas has been talking to some of you about that and to the people responsible for keeping the bad guys behind bars.
It took the Martin County Sheriff a week to catch these 2 dangerous convicts after they broke out of Martin Correctional Institution last September. This prisoner was captured Tuesday after bolting from the MCI work camp that morning. Indiantown is the nearest town to MCI, and during the last 2 escapes, 4 prisoners headed straight for here on their way south. That's something that scares many of the people who live here, and they'd like to see something done.
Every couple of months somebody escapes. And it's not the sheriff's department. They do a great job at catching them. The prison's got to do something, because somebody's going to get hurt.
Well, I feel like they need to tighten up the security a little bit.
Some of the most vicious criminals in the state live behind MCI's barbed wire fence. The man who runs the maximum security prison says it's a tough job keeping them there.
I think in any correctional facility, it's any superintendent's nightmare to have escapes. Whenever you have an escape, you worry about the community, you worry about people living around here, and we do everything we can to assure their safety.
Superintendent Farkas says he's been trying to tighten security at the work camp the prisoner escaped from Tuesday.
Can we improve? Sure. And we intend on doing that by completely renovating the whole place.
All Farkas needs to build a new fence and lighting system around the work camp is piled in the yard. But Farkas says until he can get approval from Tallahassee for the project, the material will stay right there, making the superintendent himself a prisoner of the state bureaucracy. At Martin Correctional Institution, Chris Douglas, TV 12, Eyewitness News.
Superintendent Farkas says escapes are unavoidable, even from a maximum security facility like MCI. He hopes tightening security will keep the breakouts to a minimum. Jennifer James is home tonight, fussing, eating, having her diapers changed like any baby. Jennifer, though, is the miracle baby.
I'll see you later. I'll see you later.
Nurses at West Boca Medical Center said goodbye to Jennifer this morning after 2 months of care. Parents Richard and Mary Ellen James tried for 6 years to become parents. They saw little Jennifer born on Halloween, a scary 3 months premature, 3 pounds, no heartbeat, no breathing. But she has revived and thrived. Neonatologist Joseph Schulman says Jennifer's chances for a normal life were 10 million to 1. But she's gained a pound and shows no signs of any problem.
She'll be walking down the corridor pretty soon. There you go.
We're going on our honeymoon.
Bye. Yay. There we go.
So Jennifer goes to her home in Boynton Beach for a first time in a stretch limo, and Richard and Mary Ellen James begin their lives as parents. And we wish you well. And we wish all of us well tonight, and we could wish all of us some heat.
Well, we could, but out of Washington tonight, there's some good news and bad news.
Good news?
Well, the good news, actually, the bad news is that they're not going to decorate the Christmas tree at the White House.
Aw.
The good news is they're decorating the bushes. We'll be back with the weather in just a minute.
They are turning up all around the country, offering deals that can't be beat.
It was a great con game. I mean, these guys are good.
And they say, hey, man, you're going to think I'm crazy asking you this.
Con men armed with slick brochures and an irresistible pitch are ripping off consumers everywhere.
Just turn on the volume and the speaker is gone completely.
Inside Edition uncovers a scam that could be aimed at you. Together, we can make a difference.
Monday at 7:30 on WPEC TV 12.
Throughout Florida, there is one phone line with complete weekly information on arts events in Palm Beach County. The Arts Line, 1-800-882-ARTS. Whether it's music, dance, theater, or the visual arts, call ArtsLine 1-800-882-ARTS. Become enlightened. Call ArtsLine. Call toll-free 1-800-882-ARTS.
Doppler 12 weather is an exclusive feature of TV 12 Eyewitness News.
Well, we'll take a look at the temperatures right now in just a second, but interestingly enough, here's the Doppler weather radar. This is the 100-mile scan. We'll go down to the 25-mile scan. Now, the green and yellow areas are just a little bit of extra ground clutter tonight in the picture, but there are a few little areas of blue patches of very light rain. There was just one north of the Indian Town Road now. And these have been appearing. There's just one just south of State Road 80 out where 96 or 98 joins it there. And these are the little areas that may turn into snow by the morning hours. And the coldest hours of the morning are about 3, 4 o'clock, okay? We may see some. Let's take a look at the temperatures now. At Vero Beach, it's 31 officially. Fort Pierce, 33. West Palm down to 34 now. Fort Lauderdale, 40. Humidity is pretty high. And these are the top ends of the gusts right now. The gusts are up to 24 miles an hour at West Palm, 20 at Fort Pierce, and northwest at 16 up at Vero. The low temperatures you see here are being replaced hourly as the temperatures drop. But to highs today, we're pretty much in the mid-50s throughout South Florida. And there was some moisture to report, too. We had over an inch reported at Vero, Fort Pierce, and West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, a third of an inch, and we need it. Okay, here's a look at some of the pictures. Now, this shows where the rain is in the southeastern states. Just off the southern Keys, you can see a little bit of buildup there, but not too much. And there's just a little bit on the west coast. Otherwise, most of the rest of it is in the form of blizzard problems for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I never thought I'd say that on a weather show, but that's the truth. The worst weather is here, and winter storm warnings continue all the way down the coastal areas into Georgia. And you can see Florida's cloudy, but these are all pretty thin clouds. As soon as that clears off, our temperatures will just dissipate, not only tonight, but tomorrow as well. So let's take a look and see what we do expect for tomorrow. In the east, we'll see high pressure filling in and dominating. There'll be some snow reported just off the lower New England region. Also some snow showers, mostly due to lake effect reasons, in the Erie, Pennsylvania area. Otherwise, a warm front in the nation's midsection with snow showers expected in the central Great Lakes. Also some snow showers up in northern North Dakota. Cold temperatures and sunshine, but out west, warming is taking place. It was in the 80s in the southwestern part of California, and tomorrow they expect a lot of sunshine too, as temperatures have already warmed into the 60s throughout much of the western Dakotas. Let's check now what's going to be happening overnight. First of all, we're going to have a northwesterly breeze, 15 to 20 at least, and that will bring our wind chills down to about 0 throughout our area, 0 to 10 above to our south, and to the north, almost unbelievably, to 20 below 0. Lows in the nation will range in the 20s in the eastern slopes of the Rockies, 0s and 10s predominantly to the east, all the way to the New England area. As you can see, it's warming up west, but it's still going to be cold tomorrow in the east. Here's the forecast now. If you're a boater, stay in port. Small craft advisory, moderate to choppy conditions through tomorrow, 6 to 12-foot seas. If you want to make someone sick, take them boating tomorrow. As far as the tide, next tide will be a high one just after 5 in the morning. And the forecast for tonight now, it's going to cool off, windy, bitterly cold, freeze inland after 3 a.m., a low of 32, colder inland, a little warmer on the coast. And tomorrow, we're going to warm up to maybe 50. Unusually cold, bright sunshine, breezy, and it's going to be as cold or colder tomorrow night. So we'll do this all again then.
Okay, and we'll look forward to it. Thank you, Bill. A cold, cruel day for the Dolphins. The Bills win and win the division, and the Dolphins' playoffs hopes could end tonight. John Frank will have that. And later, could it be? I mean, do you really think he is, you know?
There's a certain mystique about Emerald Valley water. People wonder why it tastes so good. It comes to you from a cool, clear mountain spring. We believe it's the best there is, but you can't taste it on television. So we'll let you sample 2 5-gallon bottles and use a cooler for 1 month absolutely free. For home or office delivery, call Emerald Valley today at 845-6200. In Stewart, 288-0099. 276-3559 in Boca del Rey.
Helena Fallon teaches 5th grade at Indian Pines Elementary School. She's taught higher levels during her 26-year tenure, but says younger kids need more attention and Fallon is all too happy to give it.
If I can share my ideas with someone, I'm very happy.
Sharing and shaping ideas are the reasons Fallon became a teacher.
We mold, we create, we direct future careers. Without us, there's no other profession.
No college football today, so the NFL has not only taken over Sunday and Sunday night and Monday night, but also this Saturday.
You know, occasionally they have those Thursday night specials. I'll tell you what, here, you know, you flip this quarter right here, and it still wouldn't even clear up the playoff picture right now. Things are just so bad. Actually, a flip of the coin is the last way to break a tiebreaker in the NFL playoff situation, and it wouldn't be surprising if it has to be used this year. Going into the final weekend of the season, a record 17 teams were still in the hunt for the playoff party, and there are 192 different playoff possibilities. But for the Buffalo Bills, it was simple. Beat the Jets, and they win the AFC East. In the Meadowlands, 55,000 no-shows. This was about as exciting as the first half got. Actually, Scott Norwood kicked a field goal, and then Larry Kinnebrew, 91 yards on the day, made it 10-0 for the Bills. Joe Walton looks a little skeptical. Yeah, pal, you're out of a job after this loss. Well, Jim Kelly came back firing in the second half. He hits Ronnie Harmon from 25 yards out. The Bills scored 3 straight possessions in the third quarter. They win it easily, 37-0. Say goodbye to Joe Walton and the Jets, who finish at 4-12. Several teams controlled their own destiny. Cleveland and Houston playing head-to-head. Oilers trailing 3-0. Warren Moon goes down the middle in the midst of a drive, and Felix Wright picks it off for Cleveland, his 9th interception of the year. He leads the AFC. That set up 3 plays later. Kozar is going to go to Eric Metcalf. Now, you just have to watch this play to watch one of the best rookies in the league. Barely tiptoes his way down the sideline, and then he's gone with a great block. He's into the end zone, 68 yards, 10-0 Browns, and Jerry Glanville, boy, you just cannot get any help. Kozar going to Webster Slaughter in the corner. He serves one up to Chris Dishman. It is 17-0 Browns, but hold the excitement. Never in the house of pain do you count the Oilers out. Warren Moon goes to Drew Hill to make it 17-10. Believe it or not, the Oilers are now up 20-17 with just a couple minutes to play. Now, today, it cleared up some of the playoff picture because here's what we have. In the AFC East, Buffalo is in. The winner of the Cleveland-Houston game wins the division, and Denver is in as well. Here are the question marks in the AFC. Outside chance, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, the Raiders, KC, and Pittsburgh, and Miami should Houston win. If Cleveland wins, the Dolphins are out of it. Now, in the NFC, San Francisco and the Giants are in. There was one other game today in the NFL, Washington and Seattle. Now, who cares about it? 2 teams out of the playoffs, but say goodbye to Steve Largent, the great receiver. Ends his career, he goes out with a retirement, but not before he catches a pass to end his consecutive game streak to 177 games. But the Redskins ran away with it, folks. They made it look easy. Mark Rippon, 44 yards to Gary Clark, and yes, that was a touchdown. The Redskins blank the Seahawks 29-0. One other look now, again, at the NFC picture. These are the teams that are in, San Francisco and the Giants. The question marks, the possibilities, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Green Bay, and the Rams all still in the hunt. Forget the heat is on. How about the Miami Freeze? Thursday night, the Heat rallied, but lost a 2-pointer to Atlanta. Tonight, they took on the #1 scoring team in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets average 116 points. Miami averages only 96. They got it going early. Ronnie Cycli with the jam there. But then it was Michael Adams, who loves to throw up the 3-point bombs. That one was good. And Heat fans, this was just a reader. You didn't even have to pay attention. Thanks to Walter Davis, who also throws one up. Denver easily, 135-104. NBA scores this evening. New York gets by New Jersey 94-85. It is Philadelphia easily over Chicago. Detroit by 6 over Orlando. Milwaukee beats Minnesota. Dallas over Sacramento. And San Antonio beats Utah. Cold weather stops golfers, not basketball players. However, freezing weather in Gainesville slowed down the University of South Florida, and their game with the Gators started an hour and a half late thanks to the freezing weather. The Bulls could have used some antifreeze. Dwayne Shinsis and the fast break was the key here. Shinsis blocks that one, and Hosey Grimsley all the way to finish it off. In the second half, I told you about the fast break. B.J. Carter goes to Dwayne Davis for the big jam, and Shinsis had a day. Watch the touch pass to Livingston Chapman inside for the dunk. Shinsis finished with 26 points, 12 rebounds, 7 block shots. Florida wins it 91-54. Let's go to scores today. Michigan and Seton Hall played a rematch of the NCAA championship game. Michigan wins at 91-86. It is Illinois over Wisconsin Green Bay. Arkansas beats Virginia Military. And UNLV beats Iowa by 17. No surprises in college hoops, but boy, is there a big one when it comes to baseball. Two of mine, and I'm sure your favorites, Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner, were busy opening their mouths this week. That's nothing new, but what came out was.
It was the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Unless it has to do with kicking dirt, Billy Martin needs a script. Doesn't even know the words in the holiday season.
Like I didn't know I knew how to read. Thanks, John. Still to come on TV 12 Eyewitness News. We'll show you how the big man in red is getting ready for his busiest day of the year.
From all of us at TV 12, have a happy holiday.
So, you think you're too old to believe. Too many Christmases have gone by. But what if you saw with your own eyes a bearded man fortifying himself for a long winter's night? Mrs. fortifying Santa for the night. His reindeer are waiting patiently for him outside, still so lively and quick, the old guy. And on his way to work, he's giving rides to his presents and Father Christmas, and you'll only see here Dancer, Donner, Blitzen, and Prancer, as the others are probably resting for the night. So, who do you think the old man in red is? Well, remember, he's making his list and checking it twice. There you are, TV 12 Eyewitness News. Thank you for watching. Our odds are here tomorrow night. I'll be back on Christmas. Have a good evening.